Well, he spent 5 decades in public service, and now Fort Smith's beloved Mayor George McGill says he will not be running again for mayor.
Yeah, but last night he gave his final State of the City address. 5 News reporter Claire Everbach joins us with what he had to say. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Tiffany. Mayor McGill made history back in 2018 when he was elected as Fort Smith's first African-American mayor. And during his final State of the City address, he reflected on the progress the city has made during his time in office and Fort Smith's future. He highlighted economic development across the region, including business growth and new investments in the community. The mayor also pointed to major infrastructure projects, from sewer and drainage improvements to street repairs, saying those investments are critical to the city's long-term growth. McGill noted efforts to strengthen public safety in the past year, including recruiting new police officers and supporting first responders. And as he reflected on his time in office, McGill said his main goal as mayor is to ensure future generations are prepared to continue moving the city forward together.
Public service is built on trust, and trust is built on keeping your word. From the very beginning, I believe that leadership is about stewardship, serving faithfully, working hard, and then making room for the next generation of leaders to step forward with fresh ideas and renewed energy. I am deeply proud of what we have accomplished, not as an individual, but as a community.
McGill concluded his speech with saying Fort Smith is well positioned for future growth and that the city's progress has been the result of strong community teamwork. Claire Everbach, 5 News.
Thanks for that, Claire. Well, a Bella Vista woman accused of practicing medicine without a license is set to have a plea hearing this morning. Alicia Flanagan was charged with identity fraud and unlawful practice of nursing. Arrested in 2024, accused of using the credentials of a nurse from Virginia. Court documents say that Flanagan worked at Springdale Health and Rehab in 2022. Her trial was set to start this month, but a court document says that date has been vacated.
Well, new details after Fort Smith Public Schools fired a band director following a special meeting on Wednesday night. Police arrested James Palmer on a charge of sexual assault on Thursday. Police say that they began the investigation after getting a tip that Palmer was acting inappropriately with the student. Palmer was a band director at Southside and Chaffin Middle School. He has bonded out of jail and is expected back in court next week. A plan for Arkansas TV to end its affiliation with PBS has been delayed. This after hearings on Thursday, Arkansas's Public Television Commission voted to pause the effort. The 4-1 vote came after the CEO of PBS raised concerns about what the change would mean for people in rural areas without broadband access. Former Arkansas First Ladies Kate White and Barbara Pryor also spoke in favor of the delay. With this week's vote, the earliest Arkansas TV could end its PBS affiliation is in December.
This morning, the Pentagon confirming at least 4 more U.S. service members in Operation Epic Fury have died. Comes after a military refueling tanker with 6 crew members crashed in Iraq. The Pentagon says a second aircraft involved landed safety, and that the incident was not due to hostile or friendly fire. Meanwhile, President Trump launching a new threat at Iran.
He posted on social media this morning. Take a look at this. This is the post, which came just hours after Iran's new supreme leader issued a warning of his own, vowing to avenge the blood of Iranians killed by U.S. and Israeli strikes and to continue blocking the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, Iran blasted this oil tanker near Iraq, and crew members still missing after a strike on a cargo ship. Overnight, Iranian missiles and drones also rained down on Israel and neighboring Gulf countries, many of them intercepted.
The Islamic Republic is messaging very loudly and clearly that it has the ability to spread the pain far and wide.
On Thursday, oil prices at the pump again topping $100 a barrel. To offset the spike, the Trump administration has issued a 30-day waiver allowing the purchase of sanctioned Russia oil and gas products at sea. Well, federal investigators have identified the suspect that they say rammed his vehicle into a Michigan synagogue yesterday.
Now authorities are trying to pinpoint a motive. Tina Kraus has more.
A tense scene Thursday at one of the largest synagogues in the U.S. Smoke pouring from Temple Israel in suburban Detroit after authorities say a man armed with a rifle got past security, smashing his car through the front doors. The attack now being investigated by local officials and the FBI.
We are leading the investigation right now as a targeted act of violence against the Jewish community.
Authorities have named the suspect as 41-year-old Ayman Mohammed Ghazali, born in Lebanon, a U.S. citizen for a decade. CBS News has learned emergency responders found explosive materials in his vehicle.
Something ignited in the vehicle. That's a work in progress.
The synagogue also houses a preschool with more than 100 kids. Frantic parents ran to pick up their children. Officials say they're all safe.
We have no victims other than one of the lead security people was hit by the car and was taken to the hospital for treatment.
At the White House, President Trump offered support following the attack.
I want to send our love to the Michigan Jewish community and all of the people in Detroit.
Overnight, local and federal authorities were seen at the home of the suspect conducting a possible raid. The FBI had led an active shooter training drill at the temple just 6 weeks ago. The Bureau has sent out a series of bulletins warning of increased targeting and threats against synagogues across the country. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Well, FBI officials say they are investigating a deadly shooting in Virginia as an act of terrorism. It happened at the Old Dominion University on Thursday morning. The gunman, Mohammed Jola, entered a ROTC training class, killing the instructor, according to investigators. A retired Army officer and wounded 2 others. One of the students killed Jola with a knife.
Brave ROTC members in that room subdued him. And if not for them, I'm not sure, what else he may have done.
Well, Hollow is a former Virginia National Guardsman. In 2016, he pleaded guilty to providing support for ISIS. He was sentenced to 11 years, but released early in December 2024. A vote to fund the Department of Homeland Security has failed in the Senate.
Meaning the partial shutdown that started February 14th is now expected to stretch into the next week. Senators on Thursday could not get the 60 votes needed to advance the funding bill. Only one Democrat, John Fetterman, crossed party lines in the vote, but it still fell short. Democrats had proposed temporary funding for agencies like TSA and FEMA, but Republicans rejected that plan, saying the entire Homeland Security Department should be funded at once.